If you're experiencing pain during intimacy after menopause and feeling like you're the only one going through this, I need you to know something right now. You are absolutely not alone. In fact, studies show that up to 60% of postmenopausal women experience painful intercourse, yet only 25% ever talk to their doctor about it. I'm here today to break that silence, and more importantly, to give you hope and real solutions. My name is Sarah. I'm a women's health advocate, and I've been where you are. Stay with me for the next hour and a half because what I'm about to share could transform your intimate life. Let me start by saying something that might surprise you. Experiencing pain during sex after menopause is not something you just have to accept as part of aging. It's not normal, and it's definitely not something you should suffer through in silence. Yet, so many of us do exactly that. We convince ourselves it's just another unwelcome gift from menopause, like hot flashes or mood swings, and we either avoid intimacy altogether or endure it hoping it will somehow get better on its own. I remember sitting in my car after a doctor's appointment 3 years ago, crying because I felt so dismissed when I tried to bring up this very issue. The doctor barely looked up from his clipboard and said, "Well, that's just what happens as we age. But here's what I've learned since then, and what I wish someone had told me back then. This is a medical condition with real causes and real solutions. It has a name, it's called dyspareunia, and when it happens after menopause, it's often related to something called vulvovaginal atrophy or genitourinary syndrome of menopause. Today, we're going to dive deep into why this happens, what you can do about it, and most importantly, how you can reclaim the intimate, fulfilling relationship you deserve, whether that's with a partner or with yourself. Because here's the truth. Your sexuality doesn't have an expiration date, and neither does your right to pleasure and comfort. Hey, before we continue, let me ask you, have you liked and subscribed to the channel yet? No? Then take advantage now and click the subscribe button below. Oh, and leave a comment with what you think of this video and which city you're watching it from. Your participation is very important to us. It helps our channel grow and bring more content like this. I'm counting on you. Now, let's continue. Understanding what's really happening first. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your body during and after menopause. Because understanding the why is crucial to finding the right solutions. When estrogen levels drop during menopause, it affects every part of your reproductive system, but especially the vaginal and vulvar tissues. Think of estrogen as the maintenance crew for your intimate areas. For decades, estrogen has been keeping your vaginal walls thick, elastic, and well lubricated. It's been maintaining the pH balance that keeps harmful bacteria at bay. And it's been ensuring good blood flow to keep everything healthy and responsive. When estrogen production dramatically decreases, it's like that maintenance crew suddenly goes on permanent vacation without adequate estrogen. Several things happen simultaneously. The vaginal walls become thinner. We're talking about tissue that can become up to 50% thinner than it was before menopause. The vaginal canal can actually become shorter and narrower. The tissues lose their natural elasticity, becoming more fragile and prone to tearing. Natural lubrication decreases significantly, and the pH level changes, making you more susceptible to infections. But here's something many women don't realize. These changes don't happen overnight. They're gradual, which is why you might have noticed that intimacy started feeling different even before you stopped having periods. Maybe it took longer to become aroused, or you needed more foreplay than before, or you started noticing a little discomfort that you just attributed to being tired or stressed. The medical term for these changes is vulvovaginal atrophy, and it affects up to 84% of postmenopausal women. Let me repeat that, 84%. If you're experiencing this, you're in the vast majority, not the minority. Yet somehow, we've been made to feel like we're broken or abnormal. The emotional impact we don't talk about now. Let's address something that's just as important as the physical changes, the emotional impact, because when sex becomes painful, it's not just your body that suffers, it's your entire sense of self, your relationships, and your emotional well-being. Many women describe feeling like they've lost a part of their identity. You might find yourself avoiding physical intimacy, not just sexual intimacy, but all forms of physical closeness, because you're afraid it might lead to expectations you can't meet without pain. This can create distance in relationships and feelings of guilt, inadequacy, or even depression. I've spoken with hundreds of women about this, and the stories are heartbreakingly similar. There's Linda, who told me she started making excuses to go to bed early to avoid the possibility of intimacy. There's Maria, who said she felt like she was disappointing her partner of 30 years, even though he was completely understanding. And there's Janet, who stopped dating entirely after her divorce because she was too embarrassed to explain her situation to a new partner. But here's what I want you to understand. These feelings are valid, but they don't have to be permanent. The shame and isolation you might be feeling right now are not necessary parts of this journey. There are solutions, there are treatments, and there are ways to reconnect with your sexuality and intimacy that don't involve pain or discomfort. The first step is recognizing that this is a medical issue, not a personal failing. You wouldn't hesitate to seek treatment for high blood pressure or diabetes. And you shouldn't hesitate to seek treatment for this either. Your sexual health is part of your overall health, and you deserve to feel good in your body. Common myths we need to debunk before we get into solutions. I want to address some common myths that might be holding you back from seeking help or trying effective treatments. Myth number 1. This is just a normal part of aging, and I should accept it. This is perhaps the most damaging myth of all. While hormonal changes during menopause are normal, painful sex is not something you have to accept. It's a treatable condition, not an inevitable consequence of getting older. Myth number 2. If I use hormone therapy, I'll increase my cancer risk significantly. The relationship between hormone therapy and cancer risk is complex and highly individual. For many women, especially when it comes to localized vaginal estrogen therapy, the benefits far outweigh the risks. This is absolutely something to discuss with your healthcare provider. But don't let fear of cancer prevent you from exploring options that could dramatically improve your quality of life. Myth number 3. Lubricants are all I need. While good lubricants are helpful and important, they're often not enough to address the underlying tissue changes that cause pain. Think of it this way. If you have a deep cut, putting lotion on it might make it feel better temporarily, but it won't heal the wound. Similarly, lubrication can help with immediate comfort, but it won't reverse vaginal atrophy. Myth number 4. My partner will leave me if I can't have normal sex. First, let's redefine normal sex. Normal sex is whatever feels good and pleasurable for you and your partner. Second, if you're with someone who truly cares about you, they want you to be comfortable and pain-free more than they want any particular sexual activity. Communication and creativity can lead to intimacy that's even more satisfying than what you had before. Myth number 5. It's too late to do anything about it now. It's never too late. I've worked with women in their 70s and 80s who have successfully treated painful intercourse and returned to enjoyable, intimate lives. Your body has an amazing capacity for healing and adaptation at any age. Medical treatment options. What really works now? Let's talk about the treatments that can actually make a difference. I want to emphasize that what works for one woman might not work for another, which is why it's so important to work with a healthcare provider who understands postmenopausal sexual health. Let's start with vaginal estrogen therapy, which is often the gold standard treatment for vulvovaginal atrophy. This is not the same as systemic hormone replacement therapy. Vaginal estrogen is applied directly to the vaginal tissues in very small amounts, and very little gets absorbed into your bloodstream. It comes in several forms: creams, tablets, or rings that you insert into the vagina. The estrogen ring, for example, is inserted once every 3 months and releases a steady, low dose of estrogen directly to the vaginal tissues. Many women find this the most convenient option. The tablets are inserted twice a week initially, then reduced to twice a week for maintenance. The cream is applied 2 to 3 times per week. Studies show that vaginal estrogen can significantly improve vaginal tissue thickness, elasticity, and lubrication within just a few weeks of starting treatment. Most women see substantial improvement within 3 months. The key is consistency. This is not a quick fix, but rather a long-term treatment that maintains vaginal health. For women who cannot or prefer not to use estrogen, there are other options. Ospemifene is an oral medication that acts like estrogen in vaginal tissues but doesn't have the same effects elsewhere in the body. It's taken once daily and has been shown to be effective for many women. There are also non-hormonal prescription treatments. Vaginal moisturizers, used regularly, can help maintain tissue hydration between sexual encounters. These are different from lubricants. Moisturizers are used consistently to maintain vaginal health. while lubricants are used specifically during sexual activity. For some women, especially those who also experience low libido, testosterone therapy might be considered. This requires careful monitoring and should only be done under medical supervision, but it can be life-changing for the right candidates. Now, let's talk about some newer options that are showing promising results. Laser therapy for vaginal tissue rejuvenation is becoming more widely available. These treatments use controlled laser energy to stimulate collagen production and improve blood flow to vaginal tissues. While research is still ongoing, many women report significant improvement after a series of treatments. Similarly, radiofrequency treatments work by heating the deeper layers of vaginal tissue to stimulate collagen production and improve tissue elasticity. These treatments are typically done in a series of 3 to 4 sessions. Platelet-rich plasma therapy, where your own blood platelets are processed and injected into vaginal tissues to promote healing and regeneration, is another emerging option. While more research is needed, early results are encouraging. The key with any medical treatment is finding a healthcare provider who takes your concerns seriously and is knowledgeable about current treatment options. If your current doctor dismisses your concerns or seems uncomfortable discussing sexual health, don't hesitate to seek a second opinion or find a specialist in women's sexual health or menopause medicine. Lifestyle and natural approaches that actually help, while medical treatments are often necessary and highly effective. There are also lifestyle changes and natural approaches that can make a significant difference, either on their own or in combination with medical treatments. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Regular sexual activity itself can be therapeutic. I know this might sound counterintuitive when sex is painful, but here's why it matters. Sexual activity increases blood flow to the genital area, which helps maintain tissue health. It also helps maintain vaginal elasticity and lubrication. The key phrase here is, use it or lose it, but we need to redefine what sexual activity means. This doesn't have to mean penetrative intercourse. Self-stimulation, either manual or with appropriate devices, can provide the same benefits. The goal is regular genital stimulation that increases blood flow and maintains tissue flexibility. Even just 5 to 10 minutes of gentle stimulation a few times a week can make a difference. Pelvic floor exercises, commonly known as Kegel exercises, can also be incredibly helpful. A strong, flexible pelvic floor supports healthy sexual function and can reduce pain during intercourse. But here's something many women don't know. It's not just about strengthening these muscles, it's also about learning to relax them. Some women with painful intercourse actually have overly tight pelvic floor muscles that need to learn to release and relax. I'd recommend working with a pelvic floor physical therapist if possible. They can assess whether your pelvic floor muscles are too tight, too weak, or uncoordinated, and design a specific exercise program for you. This might include not just Kegel exercises, but also stretching, relaxation techniques, and sometimes the use of vaginal dilators to gradually and gently stretch vaginal tissues. Speaking of dilators, these are medical devices that come in graduated sizes and are used to gently stretch vaginal tissues over time. They're often recommended by healthcare providers and can be incredibly effective when used consistently and correctly. The key is starting with the smallest size that's comfortable and gradually working up as your tissues adapt. Diet and nutrition also play a role in sexual health. Foods rich in phytoestrogens, plant compounds that can have mild estrogen-like effects, might provide some benefit. These include soy products, flax seeds, and certain legumes. While the effects are much milder than medical estrogen therapy, every little bit helps. Staying well hydrated is crucial for all tissue health, including vaginal tissues. Dehydration can worsen vaginal dryness, so make sure you're drinking adequate water throughout the day. Some women find benefit from certain supplements, though it's important to discuss these with your healthcare provider first. Vitamin E, when applied topically to vaginal tissues, has shown some promise in small studies. Vitamin D deficiency has been linked to various sexual health issues, so ensuring adequate vitamin D levels is important. Stress management cannot be overlooked. Chronic stress affects hormone production and can worsen menopausal symptoms, including vaginal atrophy. Regular exercise, meditation, yoga, or whatever stress reduction techniques work for you are not just nice-to-haves. They're essential parts of your sexual health toolkit. Sleep quality also affects hormone production and overall well-being. Poor sleep can worsen menopausal symptoms and affect your energy and desire for intimacy. If you're struggling with sleep issues, addressing them can have positive effects on your sexual health as well. The importance of communication and relationships now. Let's talk about something that's just as important as any medical treatment: communication. Whether you're in a long-term relationship or dating, honest communication about what you're experiencing is crucial for maintaining intimacy and finding solutions that work for both you and your partner. I know this can feel incredibly difficult. Many of us were raised not to talk about sexual issues, and discussing painful sex can feel embarrassing or shameful. But here's what I've learned. The anticipation of these conversations is usually much worse than the actual conversations themselves. If you're in a long-term relationship, your partner has probably already noticed changes in your sexual relationship. They might be confused, worried, or even blaming themselves. They might think you're no longer attracted to them, or that they're doing something wrong. Opening up about what you're experiencing can actually bring you closer together and allow you to work as a team to find solutions. Here's how to approach this conversation. Choose a time when you're both relaxed and not in a sexual situation. Start by affirming your love and attraction to your partner. Then, explain what you're experiencing physically, emphasizing that it's a medical issue, not a reflection of your feelings for them. Be specific about what hurts and what feels good. Ask for their support in exploring solutions together. Remember, this isn't a one-time conversation. As you try different treatments and approaches, keep communicating about what's working and what isn't. Your partner can be your greatest ally in this journey if you let them. If you're dating or considering dating, the conversation is different but equally important. You don't need to share every detail on a first date. But if a relationship is becoming intimate, honesty about your needs and limitations will lead to better experiences for both of you. A caring partner will want to ensure your comfort and pleasure, and there are many ways to be intimate that don't involve painful activities. This brings me to an important point: expanding your definition of sexual intimacy. For many couples, dealing with painful intercourse actually leads to a richer, more varied intimate life. When penetrative intercourse is off the table temporarily or permanently, couples often explore other forms of pleasure and connection that they might never have discovered otherwise. Oral stimulation, manual stimulation, the use of appropriate toys and devices, sensual massage, and extended foreplay can all be incredibly satisfying. Some couples find that removing the pressure and expectation of intercourse actually makes their intimate times more relaxed and enjoyable. For women who are dating, remember that you have every right to set boundaries and communicate your needs. A partner who is worth your time will be patient, understanding, and creative in finding ways to share pleasure that work for both of you. Practical products and tools that can help. Let's get practical now and talk about specific products and tools that can make a real difference in your comfort and pleasure. I want to emphasize that everyone's body is different, so what works amazingly for one woman might not work for another. The key is being willing to experiment and find what works for you. First, let's talk about lubricants, because not all lubricants are created equal. Water-based lubricants are compatible with all types of condoms and sex toys, but they can dry out during extended activity and may need to be reapplied. Silicone-based lubricants last longer and don't dry out as quickly, but they can't be used with silicone toys. Oil-based lubricants last the longest and can feel the most natural, but they break down latex condoms and can increase the risk of infections for some women. For postmenopausal women, I often recommend starting with a high-quality silicone-based lubricant for sexual activity and a separate vaginal moisturizer for regular maintenance. Some popular brands that many women find effective include Good Clean Love, Aloe Cadabra, and Uberlube. Vaginal moisturizers are used regularly, not just during sexual activity. They help maintain tissue hydration and pH balance. Repelons and Luvena are two widely available options, but there are many others. The key is finding one that doesn't cause irritation and using it consistently as directed. For women using vaginal dilators, I recommend starting with a set that includes multiple sizes and is made from medical-grade materials. The Intimate Rose Dilator set is popular and comes with excellent instructions. Remember, the goal with dilators is gradual, gentle stretching over time, not forcing or causing pain. If you're considering vibrators or other intimate devices, look for ones made from body-safe materials like medical-grade silicone. Avoid anything made from jelly, rubber, or other porous materials that can harbor bacteria. Companies like Dame, WeVibe, and Lilo make high-quality products designed with women's anatomy and comfort in mind. For couples, consider products designed for extended foreplay and arousal. Warming lubricants, arousal gels, and couples massage oils can all enhance the experience and make penetration more comfortable when and if you choose to include it. Don't forget about practical comfort items, soft towels, comfortable pillows for positioning, and maybe some beautiful lingerie that makes you feel confident and sexy. Creating an environment where you feel relaxed and attractive can make a huge difference in your overall experience. Working with healthcare providers. Finding the right healthcare provider to help you with postmenopausal sexual health can sometimes be challenging, but it's absolutely crucial. Not all doctors are comfortable or knowledgeable about sexual health issues, and unfortunately, some still hold outdated views about sexuality and aging. Here's what to look for in a healthcare provider. They should take your concerns seriously. Without dismissing them as normal aging, they should be knowledgeable about current treatment options for vulvovaginal atrophy and postmenopausal sexual health. They should be comfortable discussing sexual topics without embarrassment or judgment, and they should be willing to work with you to find solutions, not just tell you to use more lubricant. If your current primary care doctor or gynecologist isn't meeting these criteria, don't be afraid to seek out a specialist. Look for healthcare providers who specialize in menopause medicine, sexual health, or women's health. The International Society for the Study of Women's Sexual Health and the North American Menopause Society both have directories of certified specialists. When you go to your appointment, come prepared. Write down your symptoms, including when they started, what makes them better or worse, and how they're affecting your life. Be specific about the type and location of pain you experience. Don't minimize your symptoms or downplay their impact on your quality of life. Ask questions. What treatment options are available? What are the risks and benefits of each option? How long before you might see improvement? What should you do if the first treatment doesn't work? A good healthcare provider will welcome your questions and take time to answer them thoroughly. Don't accept dismissive answers like "that's just what happens as we age," or "try using more lubricant." If a provider seems uncomfortable discussing sexual health or doesn't seem knowledgeable about treatment options, it's okay to seek a second opinion. Remember, you are your own best advocate. If something doesn't feel right or if a treatment isn't working, speak up. Your sexual health is an important part of your overall health and quality of life, and you deserve compassionate, knowledgeable care. Hope and success stories. I want to end the main content of today's video by sharing some hope and real success stories, because I know that when you're in the middle of dealing with painful sex, it can feel hopeless and overwhelming. Let me tell you about Margaret, who is 67 and was ready to give up on intimacy entirely after her husband passed away, and she started dating again. She worked with a menopause specialist, started vaginal estrogen therapy, and began working with a pelvic floor physical therapist. 6 months later, she told me that not only was sex comfortable again, but she was experiencing pleasure she hadn't felt in years. There's Susan, who had been married for 40 years and thought her intimate life with her husband was over. After trying several approaches, she found that a combination of vaginal laser therapy and regular use of dilators made all the difference. She and her husband also discovered new ways of being intimate that they both enjoyed even more than their previous routine. And there's Carol, who at 72 decided she wasn't ready to give up on romance. She worked with her doctor to find the right treatment plan, learned to communicate openly with potential partners about her needs, and is now in a wonderful relationship where intimacy is comfortable and joyful. These aren't rare exceptions. These are normal outcomes when women get appropriate treatment and support. The key is not giving up and not accepting pain as inevitable. Your sexuality and your right to pleasure and intimacy don't have expiration dates. With the right information, treatments, and support, you can reclaim comfort and joy in your intimate life. It might look different than it did in your 20s or 30s, but different doesn't mean less satisfying. Many women tell me that addressing these issues actually led to better communication, more creativity, and more satisfying intimate relationships than they had before menopause. Let's recap the key points we've covered today, because I want you to leave this video feeling empowered and hopeful. First, painful sex after menopause is incredibly common, affecting up to 84% of postmenopausal women. but it is not something you have to accept as normal or inevitable. It's a treatable medical condition with multiple effective solutions. Second, the cause is primarily the drop in estrogen that occurs during menopause, leading to changes in vaginal tissues that make them thinner, less elastic, and more prone to irritation and tearing. Understanding this helps remove the shame and self-blame that many women carry. Third, there are numerous treatment options available, from vaginal estrogen therapy to newer treatments like laser therapy, from lifestyle changes to specific products and tools. What works varies from woman to woman, but there are options for everyone. Fourth, communication with partners and healthcare providers is crucial. You deserve compassionate, knowledgeable care, and you deserve intimate relationships that are comfortable and satisfying. Finally, this journey might actually lead you to discover new forms of intimacy and pleasure that are even more satisfying than what you experienced before. Many women find that addressing these challenges opens doors to better communication, more creativity, and deeper intimacy in their relationships. Remember, you are not broken, you are not too old, and it is not too late. Your sexual health matters, your pleasure matters, and your comfort matters. You deserve to feel good in your body and to have intimate relationships that bring you joy, not pain. If this video has helped you feel less alone or given you hope, please share it with other women who might need to hear this message. Sexual health after menopause is still too much of a taboo topic, and the more we talk about it openly, the more we can help each other. I want to hear from you in the comments. What has your experience been? What questions do you still have? What treatments have worked or not worked for you? Your sharing could help another woman who is struggling with the same issues. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I post new content about women's health, menopause, and sexual wellness. I'm committed to creating content that addresses the real issues we face as we age, with honesty, compassion, and practical solutions. Remember, seeking help for painful sex isn't selfish or frivolous. It's an important part of taking care of your overall health and well-being. You deserve to feel comfortable in your body, you deserve pleasure, and you deserve intimate relationships that bring you joy. Take care of yourself, be patient with your body as it adapts and heals, and never give up on the possibility of a fulfilling, intimate life. You've got this, and you're not alone in this journey. Until next time, this is Sarah reminding you that your health, your pleasure, and your happiness matter at every age.